details quickly. Pull a Gupta on air.
You're up.
Yeah, just got to refresh it.
Cool. Folks, welcome to another HotBox podcast. Looking forward to a lazy, hazy evening. Tonight I'm joined by Mirishin and Johan from Buzz Inc. as well as Jules. Looking forward to speaking Lang Dang per usual. So,
Yeah.
welcome.
Thanks for inviting me back. I kind of missed it, you know. It's the Thursday evening talking shit session.
It's needed.
But we didn't invite you in to talk shit, obviously. This is very, very, very serious
Very
shit.
serious.
Might turn into that. Who knows?
Adult faces tonight, guys. Adult faces,
Yeah.
all grown up in that. Just to give you an idea of what we're going to be talking about tonight, we're going to be talking about a schoolyard of kids who got baked off of a granny's gummy bears. What we've
True
also
story.
got is some serious security. Elephants, believe it or not. We'll get into that. What we're also looking at, there was a bust in KZN. Sad situation.
Yeah.
And I thought this was a bit of a fun story. I don't know how true or not. It's like someone's planning to make like the Willy Wonka of cannabis factories, of cannabis experiences, which, we'll see. And then medical sales are apparently down in Colorado because recreational sales are up. So we'll talk about why we think that's happening.
Yeah.
And if we get time, we'll see there's a mega merger going on in Canada. But honestly, I'm just a bit Canada'd out at the moment.
Yeah, it's a bit
Yeah.
candidate out. We know how bad it is. Let's just not...
Focus on it.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of lessons to be learned from Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, liberals and all of that, and how they thought they were going to make it legal, but they're just making it a trussed-up version of prohibition, basically.
Yeah.
But you know what? To the average guy on the street who just wants some Zol, it's like going to be amazing.
Well, I
it's
think
going to
that's-
be legal.
That's what we're going to get,
That's-
and I've got a point about that, but we're going to get there.
Cool.
Before we kick off, though,
58 minutes later.
58 minutes when there's a minute on the clock. You know how it counts down. Mirishin and Johan, you guys are from Buzz Inc. Been seeing your faces around a lot. I know we saw you on, I think it was Enco or something recently.
NCA,
Yeah, last year.
maybe.
But who are you? What are you about? What is Buzz Inc?
I think we stand for education. We would like to very much educate people around South Africa that it is possible to grow and make your own medicine at home. We do assist with a lot of patients as well, and that's where we learn so much. And when you bring up the medical turning to recreational, we see it a lot, because as soon as patients have cured themselves, they have found a fascination with this plant. They don't want to drink anymore. They don't want to, so they move themselves over into the cannabis community, coming from a medical side. Yeah.
Good introduction, yeah.
Yeah, no, write that down. Remember that one.
Yeah.
About says it all, eh? And before we get into the meat and bones of tonight, we tried to make a little effort for you folks this time round to share the bud and dad porn experience as best we can until YouTube has Smullogram.
Scratch and sniff.
Yeah. But
Scratch and
tonight we've apparently got some indoor Cinderella 99 at the table, so I think we're all going to spark up a bit of that, see what our take is on it. But I don't know, do you folks reckon it could be legit? Isn't C99 extinct? I don't know.
It's a long time ago, but you know what? You can keep a seed forever if you look after it, but it doesn't necessarily mean anybody did.
Yeah.
But I had a little test drive of it when it arrived, and I don't want to smoke too much of that during the course of this evening, because remember, dabs are different from smoke to me now. Smoke just sorts me out. I go like numb in the front. It's, you know, all this concentrate stuff, and everyone says dabs are they're crack of cannabis. They're not. It's a much different high. It's a much more
Definitely.
manageable experience
Yes.
doing a dab. Don't you agree?
Absolutely.
But if I
Absolutely.
smoke this stuff now, then it'll all be a bit sure. But try me out, you know. I'll give it my best shot.
And on that note, what dab we dealing with tonight, Jules?
This is Hawaiian Snow from a while back. It's been cleaned up again. It's been down here for a couple of days. It's hot in here, eh? HotBox.
Hot as.
And so it's really, really gooey. It's like one of those yank and pull ones. It's not quite a shatter, but you can sort of put your nail in, dig into it, and it'll just peel off quite nicely as wax. So, well,
Well, it must be about 7:10 right now locally, so I think it's about time. Johan, are you locked and loaded there, son?
Indeed.
Nice.
Ready with clean green.
clean
Nice.
green. Now the
Clean
clean green
green.
people around.
Yeah, let's see what the C99 is all about, because I think the proof is always in the pudding. And from something as legendary, I hope I get fucked. So, folks, on to the news of the week. So, this was kind of funny. Our backstage engineer here saw this story. So in India, elephants, dudes. Elephants. Not African elephants, but admittedly elephants. And I'm just going to introduce you on the blurb here. It was a Sky News story titled Police Taking Out Cannabis Farm, Drop Gun While Being Charged At by Elephants. So it looks like there was some Indian cops in the bush staking out the cannabis grow.
And
They got their guard dogs.
Yeah, and the guard dogs, the fucking elephants,
how you do it.
chased them off. But the Oaks, like in a Leon Schuster moment, because you know when Leon Schuster's the Oaks run away, he dropped his fucking gun. So now the elephants are armed too.
That's what you need.
The Leon Schuster movies, they always end up in a pile of poo, you know? It's not about the muskets or anything, it's all about the poo at the back of the animal. So did they all drop into that? That's a ridiculous story.
But maybe that, because I've heard of
Because, you know, there's people in KZN with ostriches.
So
They're pretty cool, but don't let them go the wrong way through your weed, because how do you make sure the elephant doesn't collapse your kush?
Fuck your shit up.
He's going to eat it.
Give him 10% of the yield.
He's going to eat it.
But maybe these elephants are trained to eat cops only.
And then they get a reward.
Africa's so behind there, which is really good.
Sorry, what country was that in?
It was in India.
Oh, okay, sorry, Northwest Province or anything.
No. Because when I first read it, I had these big visions of like African elephants in a PPC ad chasing down cops.
Proper.
And those Indian ones, which I think are maybe half intimidating, not as, or in the moment you think you run, eh?
Yeah, you
Things
do.
are bigger and better in Africa, eh? So,
Or you negotiate.
elephants, yeah.
Negotiate with the elephant.
Maybe. You never know.
Paying in peanuts.
Yeah.
But you guys ever hear weird stories like that? Like drug dealers with pit bulls and people who have tigers and that guarding their shit. Do you think there must be things like that locally where Oak's got a couple of junkyard dogs in his grow? Eh?
Yeah, especially in small towns.
Yeah.
They love
Especially in small towns.
Yeah, junk shop, you know, sort of, the further you out of Johannesburg you get, the bigger the boer bulls become.
Yeah, well, we've got some people in South Africa that got the cops as their guard dogs, you know, so that also
Yeah,
helps.
that's another whole can of worms. Yeah, they're sort of driving the Nigerian around with his coke stash to get from A to B. I know there's some dodgy people around, there's some dodgy cops around. But we can't bash cops all day long.
No, it's not them.
There's some rogues and there's some assholes, but cops are, you know, cops are there to just uphold everything. It's their job.
They've
And
got a job to do.
I'm just doing my job doesn't wear very well with me anymore because we're dealing with so many busts. Folk like you, I mean, you've gone down, you've smelt it, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know,
stay
you've
down
been
the
there.
barrel.
I've been
times.
there. We
Little holiday.
know what it's like. And some of them are out of order. And down in the Western Cape now, we've just done a whole string of them, and it's the same modus operandi. And one thing I can tell you is they don't give a fuck about Dennis Davis and his judgment proof.
No.
They don't care about the constitutionality of anything because there it is. Undesirable dependence producing substance with no medical value. Pull the weed out, put you in a cell for the day.
But if all the evidence that they took from your house actually goes into the evidence room, then yes. But if they only take in your plants and a little bit of your outdoor, and then they ask you to please write the names of the strains on the indoor bags, where is it going?
Right. Well, there's a way of getting
Is
arrested.
that what they
and not.
ask
That's what
you
they
to
ask
do?
you.
Yeah,
They
but you
ask
see-
please, what is this?
You see, they have to because they know they're losing cases because where's the weed? Oh, fuck. How much THC was it? Were you making socks or were you getting really high? Because really high is really bad. Because that's what it is. If you got the higher you get, the more jail you should get. Because that's the harm, yeah?
That's the thing.
That's the thing they're protecting you from. So the more you do it, the more you have to be punished. So where's the THC? So that's why every bag is marked with every strain, and it has to be, but it never is, because they're single-mindedly in Rottweiler world now, and they just want to trash it.
And in my mind, that's such a weird thing. To have to write the strain down there.
But
Because
listen,
they need to know
because-
that it's more
no,
than
but
weed.
you don't understand.
Yeah, but it's the
those
same.
but listen
bags
though.
are then taken by the police and then given to drug dealers to resell. This is what we need
This
to
is why they
understand.
need the
That's how
strains.
they make money.
Because if we admit, and I pay attention to this kind of shit, I haven't seen cops burning weed in a long time.
They
hey?
don't burn it; they disappear with
Yeah,
it.
remember the original hard hat memes? There's all the guys around the incinerator with the red hard hats on. It's so strong you have to wear a hard hat.
Oh, man.
The same ganja. That was a good meme.
But I think it boils down to education for them. A lot of them still are of the mindset that it's a drug. You know, and once you start talking to them, they do see
And
the
maybe-
But we're going to get onto
They
this
can
point
actually
now
benefit
as well.
from
When
it.
I think when we speak about Bust of the Week, because it is a point
It's a
about
big
like the
point.
double-edged sword of like misinformation. But before we get there, now medical, you guys, you saw on the ground, you saw frontline, you deal with sick people in desperate situations, which honestly I don't know how people do it because it's very difficult. It's like the game's changing. It's not just selling a bag of weed and fucking off now. It's a whole nother interaction. But on this issue, edibles seem to just keep coming up on the radar. And again this week we saw a story, it was on Perez Hilton's website. And
does that mean it's fake? Because I didn't. Okay, go on.
It's a if you check this own site, it's a pretty faux site. It's like a Barbie made a site.
Yeah, no, it is. But this, go on. It happens all the time. It's a good highlight. Yeah.
But also, like you say, this happens all the time. We have all been in this situation, and I'm going to get to the punchline. But it's titled "Elementary Student Accidentally Got Her Classmate High After Sharing Her Grandma's Marijuana Gummies." And it says basically, what a waste of grandma's special candy. A group of New Mexico elementary school students became sick and giggly after one 5th grader accidentally shared a box of medical marijuana edibles in class. And it goes on to say that these are like high THC things and blah 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 and fallout. But like, edibles are always so contentious because the moment it's like packaged like a gummy bear or a cookie, and even if you put a label, I get we put a label so that people are woke. But the lighter you find some gummy bears, and you know what grannies are like, they always give you those cut granny sweets, like a Wilson's Triple X or some hard fucking menthol can. And he finds the fucking horde of jelly babies or whatever, takes it to school. What a cool thing. He didn't scoff them all in fucking self. Took them to school, gave them to his friends. They weren't expecting a trip, obviously, but they appeared to have had a good time.
But look, see, it's the problem. We can't do that with anything because children down bottles of poison and they down bottles of medicine all the time and have to be rushed to hospital and stomachs picked out. So put your stuff in places where you grab children and tell them what it is.
Do you think it would make a difference if it didn't look like a gummy bear and it looked like a piece of dog biscuit?
Like a Wilson.
Well, you know,
like
also,
maybe
you understand.
Because you know that Colorado is grappling with this all the time, you know, to make it less palatable to the kids. Certainly, because I've seen one or two of your delicious cakes, produce, and they are incredibly inviting in an adult scenario. But at the same time, if there's a couple on the table and the kids walk past them with it, so there is a fine line between being really amazing confectionery and selling them on the high street with a wrapper on saying this will fuck you up, but look how cool it is.
Yeah,
that's very important. That's where the responsibility part comes in. I think with everything, you know, you've got children buying alcohol with.
What about in a silver thing that you can't see through?
Yeah. Make it delicious on the inside, but like cigarettes in a way, I imagine.
Make the packaging.
It's going to be an issue because the prohibition lobby. What about the children and what about the gummy bears? And there's been a lot of gummy bear traction on, and Colorado has backed off on palatability and the way they're packaged and the way they're put on the shelves, not at high up and not at this level, etc.
So why don't, if instead of making a chocolate edible, we make a chocolate capsule? So I'll put the edible inside the capsule. And
yeah, but what about
like a dad caramello bear?
Like something.
You break the chocolate, or like a Kinder Joy.
It's not ever going to taste the
THC. Maybe one half's got like a gizmo tiner, a grinder or something. You know, something nice. Down one half.
Or we should only do fireballs. Really, really strong fireballs.
You've got to commit. You've
got to commit to this edible for the next 30 minutes.
20 minutes, man.
Torture on fire. Trial on fire.
I'm not the best person to talk to. I haven't eaten it for years. It just never agreed with me. It was totally dose dependent, I know, but we always got the dose wrong over the years. I haven't eaten it for 15, 20 years.
I would like to bring you a CBD edible.
Okay. Okay, no, I'm sure it looks really, really cool as well.
Change your tack.
It's non-psychoactive.
It's non-psychoactive, but it is something. CBD changes your consciousness.
Absolutely.
But they haven't caught it up with psychedelic or anything. But if
CBD is
I've tried CBD now in a dose, and I don't. It's not pleasant at all, really. It's edgy and my heart rate increases a bit, which is weird because it's trying to bring you off a trip. But I don't know. I think it's got its uses to people who get paranoid, and just
beautiful for epilepsy. You can imagine, and
all of that
problems. So.
Yeah, but How would you describe it as a high? It's not a high.
It's
a,
not.
It depends what you're talking about. Sorry, but it depends. Are you talking about a CBD isolate?
I'm talking
or
about
a high CBD strain.
No, I'm talking about
CBD
just
oil.
CBD oil in glycol in a pen.
Yes, no,
One of those.
that's
Okay, that's isolate.
Isolate.
Have isolate THC and see how fucked up you're going to feel.
Well, it's fucked up, or it's a bit munged. It's a little bit flatline. You know, the vape pens are cool in traffic and at the library and shit. You know, it's really good stealth. I use it for them.
That's not what we advocate. What we should advocate. That's an isolate. I believe we should have.
And an isolate means what?
It's only the CBD molecule.
So it's not
the full
plant.
complement.
So it's not a little bit of THC and a little bit
Just
of CBD.
not
That's a
high
hell of a
CBD.
machine, eh?
That's a CO2, and you can get
They
it.
split up the molecules, and that's what they're doing overseas. They're trying to split it up and only administering THC to people, you know, because now I can patent it and market it, and it's mine now. And what they're realizing is you can't do anything without the full plant.
No, you
but what
can't
we can do for you is we can do, or what people can do now is what we are telling people to do is grow high CBD strains.
And how do
Smoke
you get
high CBD.
Because high
every
CBD
day.
doesn't mean only CBD.
No.
Yes.
There's that whole
the
And like,
entourage
you know,
effect.
high CBD is the difference between 0.02 and 0.07 or something.
You get CBD strains that's like 25% CBD, 3% THC.
25% of what? The whole plant. 1/4 of the
Cannabis
plant's
all black,
cannabinoid
cannabis,
profile
yeah.
is it.
CBD.
And THC is, but that's been bred in for sure.
No, it's just a
Well, it's
cultivar.
good breeding. Same as
Selective
breeding.
breeding,
right.
Like they do
Right.
with THC, now oaks are paying attention and doing it with CBD.
And you know, interesting it is to see the different effect you get when you have a THC and CBD 1-to-1 ratio, and the difference.
I've never come
If
across
they're-
such a thing.
If they, oh, you
I didn't think it was
it's
possible.
It's an
completely
unbelievable, beautiful medicine to smoke for people
Right.
in the day that don't want to become couch locked.
Yeah, yeah.
Makes you
Well, that's
focus.
where this contraption comes in. This is non-couch lock territory. This is
For you,
No, it's like straight to fucking fifth gear. That's the thing with, I like the joint because you can sort of
Yeah, it's
slowly
a slow-mo,
accelerate.
yeah.
But with that thing, it's like, brrr, brrr,
in,
brrr,
out.
boom! And I'm like,
and then you go off and try and think what you were doing.
You're trying to
Right,
get
what
your
was I up to?
shit together.
What was I up to?
You're about to smoke a dab.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, I think it's going to be contentious with edibles. It always will be. You know,
difficult
like you're
one.
saying, kids drink
Hey,
the
look,
therapy that's in the spray
yeah.
bottle.
Ducker Muffins Bay School.
Yeah.
It's been going on
Forever.
Tell them what
forever.
it is. Make it.
There was hash brownies in my school in 1976, and people got greened out and splattered on them and wondered where the next batch was coming from. Okay, that was cut, but I know what to do. That's what it is. All of this self-medication.
Yeah.
Fuck, that was too much.
Too
Next
much.
time it'll. So just listen to.
all time, yeah.
Yeah, we've had some classic. I've overdosed. It's temporary. It's temporary.
It's temporary.
It's temporary. It's
Don't
going to
go
go away.
much.
Don't have a space chain.
It's all fun and games till someone pisses their pants.
Yeah,
Let's not lie. Eh? There are moments when oaks aren't expecting
it
it. eh?
depends when you do it, I suppose.
But also, it's that situation, and I haven't done it, but so many people around me have done this, where they accidentally get someone high. Like this kid accidentally got his whole class high, so they weren't expecting it. But I reckon as kids, like you're more mellow, so you go with the flow. But when you're an adult, let's say a domestic worker, typically this is what happens.
Anxiety.
And sees a Malacca sweetie, I'll just take a
So
block
funny.
of the sweetie or some of the sweetie. And then chows it, and then like, so 4:20 in the afternoon or on the taxi ride home, it's like, boom!
Yeah,
But they're not expecting this, and they think they're fucking dying. So it can be like,
Shouldn't we limit the dosage? No, just don't put a 300 milligrammer out there.
make it so she has to eat 6 before it's
Yeah, I
like,
think
Yes.
that
And
is
market properly.
a very
educate
good-
people.
maybe
That's a
limit the
point.
dosage,
Because
reasonable.
Are there any single dose cookies out there? Is there anybody doing 300 mics?
Yeah.
But who eats one fucking cookie? Let's face it, guys. No
Well,
one
it
eats one
depends. If
fucking-
it tasted and looked like a dog turd, then you know, it's all about the marketing of it. Kids are not going to eat a dog turd. Maybe it's like 30% indica, you know, but it's like coiled.
They're going to be like a Ray Poo emoji and fucking shoving in their
Yeah.
faces, man. They're kind of...
Just back to the packaging and everything. You have to make it look undesirable, like a spleen or an internal organ or something.
Make it look boring, not make it look like anything,
But
man.
medicine shouldn't necessarily be bad. You know, you shouldn't have to.
Well, it's
got that- I hear you.
perceived
No,
as being a
kids, I
danger
think
to a kid who
education.
greens out. We call
No,
it
it
greenies. It
No.
will go away. you'll never forget it as long as you live, and you won't go back to that
Never
anytime
again
soon.
in your life.
And again, it's you self-realize this. And I remember I brought up a kid when he's 6, my stepson, when he's 6 years old, in late 90s. I'm mixing butter in with everything else, green butter, to start making cookies in those days. And I take the spatula thing, doink, and the whizzer comes out, the two things, and I just put them over there on the same draining board at home.
No.
And he came along and thought it was a cake and shit, and so he started eating it. And the next thing we know, where the hell is he? Oh, fuck, he was literally green on his bed, totally immobile. If he'd moved his head, he would have puked in any direction. Yeah, and that's...
It's real.
I can relate.
Who's to blame there? You can't have eyes in the back of your head. You can be the best parent you can, but all of a sudden they just went there because now you've got to get this over in. What's the chances of him walking in and going, whoa? And he did. And it took us a while to work it backwards as to what had happened. And he told us. And then, he blazes today. He's 26 years old. And he's a very fit young man on a mountain bike, and he blazes while he's mountain biking. He's had 20 years of it already. He's in full control. So he uses it as a tool, and I'm glad I told him what. But he went green, and everyone will.
Yeah, especially I can relate. Like, guys, my first trip was at like 8 years old, and I was like, wow. No. No, dude, I was doing my toes by 6 with the needle, dude. Candles. Yeah, the candles were expensive. But it was like it. So I imagine I was like an obnoxious cunt at the party, and I helped myself to a brownie or some shit, because you can't eat brownies in front of the lighty and say no. And it was truly intense. It was like voices, and had to put the lighty to bed in a corner, but yet,
there was something about it.
If it was like brandy, flick, I would have been drowning in the pool.
Oh my gosh, definitely.
True.
Definitely.
But then again, brandy tastes cockser. So we'll have to see how it plays out, folks. Your thoughts, please, in the comments. We have to be responsible. I don't think that we'll be able to start further back than alcohol and tobacco.
It starts
I don't think they're going to give us more room than those things already. But number next this week, we've got an article here. Cops bust international drug syndicate operating on KZN farms. And this was a story in the Times Live. So you said the word, the international. I'm going to emphasize some words here. But basically, like this week, and I love it when, Oaks, so many articles start like this. It's like, drop the fucking pun now. We get it. Because listen, this is how it starts. This is how they always start. A joint team. Pat yourself on the back there, little journo.
You did it.
A joint team of the Hawks, National Intelligence Unit, and Home Affairs members swooped on 5 properties on the KwaZulu-Natal south coast, where they found dacha plants, cultivating equipment, and a specialized hydroponics dacha lab. They love that word.
Labs as well.
And basically goes into detail, and you can go check the article out. But pretty big bust, multiple properties. This isn't when the Hawks are involved. When Home Affairs are involved.
When Times Live is involved there and then, they've rung them up to set this up as this season's bust. Go on.
I want to say something. I feel like as soon as the country has decided that this has become legal, they have stepped up. The CID is involved now suddenly in the last couple of months. The Hawks is stepping up there. So are they taking out the competition?
Because we are with the competition now.
When the legal market starts, we're not here anymore. Because they're not throwing you in jail. We didn't even see the inside of a courtroom. They just take everything.
And
That's put you back.
And in Gauteng, I have seen them take everything. I've heard of them taking everything without smashing it up. But mostly what I've been getting to join the queue in the last month or so, 3 weeks to a month, since the new year, is destruction. They're just ripping out plants. So different jurisdictions, different Wild West.
But they're coming through the areas. They did KZN. We had a couple of us in the Cape, and now they did KZN. Now it's starting in Limpopo.
Do you think it's they know what everybody's doing, and now they've been told, get Times Live here at 7 in the morning. We're going in. We need something here. Morale's down, and we just know we'll pick him. We've been watching him forever.
Well, can't we do the tech dealers and the child
Jesus,
traffickers?
he's got a Twitter feed that says that all the time.
Well, let's
big
us do
boys.
it.
But there's no answer for that though.
Start a
No.
cannabis police.
It's because we're the low-hanging
Cannabis.
fruit, guys.
Yeah, totally.
The guys who are
Unarmed
involved in the weed
guys.
industry are very sort of like benign drug dealers usually. There's hardly a weapon involved in that. And don't get me wrong, I know there's dynamics of money laundering and tax evasion and all kinds of shit, and that these guys are like foreign nationals and whatever. But we're so easy. Like, even me, if a cop had to come in, I'd say, yeah, like, show me the warrant. If you showed me the warrant, I'd be like, step aside and let the guy in.
Yeah.
But I imagine a tip dealer, maybe he's got himself a wee AK or a 9 or
Something.
I don't know.
I was thinking about that recently, and I thought it should be the other way around, because a full kilo would be £250,000 in Cape Town now, some decent cheese.
It's not that,
It's
man.
like-
When someone comes in
It's
and
gonna
If
be
you
starts
sell it
pulling up.
gram for gram, there's 250 grams worth of it's out there. But tick is cheap. That's why it's so out there as well. It's like it's cheaper than weed ever was.
But let's if I can we all ask, and maybe we can do a show of hands here. When was the last time you saw a headline that was about a tip lab or a cocaine lab
Absolutely
or mandrake's
not.
lab? Come on, Oaks, there, show of hands. Fucking no.
Yeah, and people complain about it all the time. This is no way for you to gain the respect of communities by busting kids for weed. All right, this is not busting a few kids for weed. This is a setup. They've been watching this one for a while. If there's 3 farms involved, then it's a syndicate headline. They were a syndicate. It was his brother-in-law's half cousins, fucking sisters, other spot now,
usually
you
work
know,
Sensational.
whatever. There's a syndicate, and now because they've used that word, they can now start the racketeering story of how much money was in it. Because when you get to a certain point, racketeering's 25 years, and it's hectic.
And you can bet they're going to be on these Oaks fucking assets. Bank account?
Well,
frozen.
they can only do that if they put every plant of every strain in every bag and mark everything, because if they've got... these guys have joined the queue. They joined the queue before that photo got hit the press, I think. They knew exactly what to do, because if you're a major grower and you don't have 50k in the bank and join the queue's number, then shit, it's going to be really difficult right from the outset. You've got to have something behind you to make it happen quickly, or that they can keep you there while they do an asset forfeiture story. We haven't heard if they're out or anything, but remember a couple of years ago, those other guys that were in for 40 days while they worked out all the farms and they sucked them all into the Hawks as asset forfeiture. 30 million rand of farms and speedboats and shit. But... yeah, that's a podcast on its own. Yeah, that's what they do. That's how they operate, because that's their budget. That's what their operating budget is asset forfeiture.
Sure.
But let's ask an honest question. Let's say each of us were to just drop it now and disappear and say, we want to do what those Oaks did. I want to start with a grow and build it into multi-million. How long do you think it would take a person? A couple of years? It wouldn't take you long if you were committed.
I think you have to count it by harvest, don't you? I don't really know much about
How many harvests would it take?
growing indoors. Growing indoors
years,
is another
10
thing
years?
to me.
Successful harvest.
Successful? Yeah, I think that's
Successful,
also...
yeah.
That's a successful, yeah, it's easy to think.
A
That's
sellable
right.
harvest. Is
You know, you think you're coming out with 300 grams of plant, it's only 80. It kills everything for another whole bunch of sessions.
Morale and
Yeah.
I'm
going to grow lank weed when it's legal.
I see the
when it's
adverse
legal.
often though, where Oaks go, okay, I'll grow it, and they grow lank, and then they can't move it, so you end up with the problem is you have too much good weed. Because it also becomes an issue, hey?
Dhaka Couple's inbox is full of folk from all over Southern Africa really now saying, I've got this and I can get it to there and what and hook me up and blah blah. And we have this standard reply that says, I'm sorry, it's not our area of expertise. Good luck.
Yeah.
Can we not like get the whole community involved, and then we start like almost like a co-op, a growers op, where the small, because we know a lot of small growers that grow just a tent over here or a small little room, mostly for themselves, and now they want to start sharing, who can then take it to their local privately owned.
That's the dream.
That's the outcome thing.
Yeah, there's a next level from multinational to small batch crafters who are making it for, like, what did you do? The caregivers. It's like a caregiver system, perhaps. It has to be part of it. You can't have. You cannot gain the benefit of this plant just because it's got their barcode on it.
It's the responsible thing to do.
And I'll be honest,
It is a responsible thing to do.
It's the responsible
Totally.
It is, and we're trying, and I think we are doing that. We're leading by example. We're trying to highlight the people who are saying we'll support you. We're in the open. We want to be responsible. But I can tell you now, the answer to that question is everyone's holding their breath.
Yeah.
We got it on Facebook, everyone, and we poke, and we're not, but 99%.
There are moves afoot in all levels in South Africa at the moment. Associations and stuff happening, and co-ops and growers, and regional and national and stuff. And it's all morphing into something. The plant will. I know it sounds really corny as fuck, but the plant will actually regulate all of this in the end. It's doing it to them in Colorado at the moment. It's teaching them lessons that they didn't even know. We have a member of the community called Off-Road SA who's always around on the live evening, and he wants to know if CBD can only help with PTSD and anxiety, or would it also help with his sleeping, but not couch lock, doff sleep, like he needs to sleep. So can he swap to CBD for that?
Firstly, once again, whole plant, so we can, have a look at having a high CBD strain, but it's going to have all your other 500 components and terpenes and those things in which we desperately need. So
you don't think if you just take CBD's
the world that you can buy at discount?
Okay.
Right.
So
Calm
you need
down a little bit, because it's going to increase the time that his anandamide is going to be active in his body. So that might calm him down for a little bit, but it's not a medicine.
Anandamide?
Anandamide is a chemical that your body produces that looks very similar to THC, and that's the one it's the bliss molecule. They call it the bliss molecule.
No, your body produces it already.
And all those people who've never had it activated before because they don't use the plant.
They actually had it activated because it is in breast milk. So most of you were...
So if your mother does blunts, technically...
No.
It's just
part
there.
of the
Yes,
first-
okay, it's just there. It's not because your mother was ripping bongs. No, okay.
I think the only way we're going to settle this...
Natural endocrine...
I think we're going to have to accept this challenge here. We're going to have to make some breast milk dabs. Yes.
What are we going to call them?
What are we going to call them?
You know, like the Americans say when you don't finish the dab and say, you got milk in your bowl. That's, it's all cloudy. That's, hey, you got milk in the bowl. That means finish the freaking thing off and clear it out if I'm next. So maybe, let's do some milky dabs.
Yeah, mother's milk. Mother's winner.
I don't know about that. It'd be like putting like a tin of condensed milk on it. It wouldn't be
I'm sure some oaks going to isolate it to the fucking 1990.
Yeah,
we know oaks take it to the max.
It's for a girlfriend of mine who takes too many pharma drugs. CBD might not cut, it might be too gentle to cut through it, but a dose of THC is going to bring it towards herself quite considerably.
Once again, we have to have a look at that list of pharmaceutical drugs. And it's also what people need to understand. It's not only about the medicine. I can give cannabis to somebody and guide them how to heal themselves. If that person does not want to heal, the cannabis can only go so far. So it's a little bit more. Why is she on that medicine? Why is she drinking? When did it start? Are these molecules not clashing already? So a little bit more.
Why has she been prescribed all this stuff? Everyone's different. They've got a condition they're coming out of.
What people don't understand is there's been tests done, clinical trials done on Prozac, for example, on 600 people for 4 years, and no. There's never been a test done on someone on Prozac and Urbanol. And maybe still knocks as well because they can't sleep. So 3 chemicals in one body. Right. What do you expect?
And that's legal.
Some of these lists are it's irresponsible. I see these lists of chronic medication and I think, are these prescribing doctors?
Just the name.
Anyways.
Chronic medication. We've got another chronic medication, but it's just the fact that it's people describe themselves as being on chronic medication. They've been sucked into this whole story.
It's okay to be on medicine for the rest of your life.
Yeah, sure. I'm diabetic, but don't worry, I'm taking pills.
Yeah. Or if I'm depressed and I'm on antidepressants, and I ask this person, did your doctor say he's going to cure your depression with this, or what is he just maintaining it?
Yeah,
he's just maintaining it. Don't you want to cure it?
Yeah, right.
Don't need a fucking service plan for my depression.
Yeah, we'll just feed you this stuff for the next few years until you forget you've actually got it.
But for me, strain-related and CBD and THC questions are always contentious to answer. One, not a medical practitioner here, but it's also, you know, I might say, cool, sign the disclaimer or whatever. What I think, or from what I've read, maybe this is what you should be aiming for. But it's one thing saying, this is what I rate, get white weed or skunk or whatever. But what that person's going to get isn't necessarily that.
That is what's so
people
important.
tell you what you want to hear. I promise you. People tell you that all the fucking time. So it's tough.
What I want to say is there are some really good responsible growers out there that when they do offer you their grow, they offer you the photo of the invoice where they bought from, they offer you photos of it in veg and in flower, they offer you a sample of the bud of the previous mother that they have flowered.
The catalogue.
So, you know,
proper stuff, dude. It's out there, man.
It's really
With the
good.
Doing it,
test.
man. People are doing it.
Yeah.
If they can mildly exit, they mildly exit. It's not a bad test. It's not great, but it gives you a little bit of a little bit with the terpenes at least. So
Yeah,
there's
we
a lot
covered
happening.
terpenes in another show last season.
Yeah.
And do you think we'd ever get to the stage where it is actually like going to a vape bar and your medicine will be this lemon one and this pine one and this, and the profile will be there for a specific condition?
We actually sat down with a couple of chemical engineers because they were great. They was like, what we're going to do is we're going to take the THC.
Are they smokers?
Yes, they are.
So it makes a big difference. So
It
they
does.
understand, yeah?
It does.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
now she basically just wanted to break it down and say what we're going to do is we're just going to isolate each one and then build a medicine. And then we have to explain to her that no. Because Jack Herer, for example, has a set structure of cannabinoids, terpenes and everything.
Right.
It's very difficult to build that. Every plant is different, but it's really good.
Because
for
they want to
asthma.
reconstruct it. They want to break it down to every isolated thing and then
Absolutely.
blend it back, dialed in. But that's what medicine will be, I think. You
And
know?
so we're
Possibly,
working
yeah.
with self-medication as well, so that's the nice thing. This medicine works perfectly in a holistic setup. It does not work in a clinical setup. It is not set. It's a spiritual medicine. You know, it's something that works. That opens up your mind at the same time. So while you're healing your breast cancer, you keep fighting your things,
Right.
issues that you had with your
Right.
mother. It's a double.
So I'd like to drop you a little story. Myrtle got a message this year, said, I got this batch of oil and it doesn't work. And we said, well, how do you know? Because like, if it was taking CBD, we wouldn't have a clue for months at a time. You know, it's a gradual process. So all of a sudden, this doesn't work. So how do you mean it doesn't work? He says, well, you know, you don't. I don't get the feeling of. You mean you get stoned? Yeah. So you want to be stuck right now. It's like this breakthrough.
It is an amazing.
It's through the
thing.
other side.
Initially-
Right, here you go. Here's the real deal. Here's bottle number 3. With
Yes, tripping balls number 420 or whatever, you know.
Jules, you have patients come that have got serious back pain. Not old, he's 50 years old, been stuck in his job for the last 20 years. We give him capsules. 1 capsule at night before he goes to bed. 2 months later, he quits his job. He's out of it. He doesn't want anything to do with the system living anymore. He wants to do
Oh, he's had an epiphany as well.
But it happens to everybody who
Yeah.
really
Most- a lot
touches
of
this
people.
medicine.
That's why it's illegal, because it makes people think out of
Makes
the
you a
box
better
like that
person.
and leave the system and be themselves.
Yeah.
That's what it's us that they ban, not the plant.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's-
But maybe that's what it's got to be like when you get the long list of side effects. The first one it lists for weed is may move your life 2 inches to the left. Something like that.
what's on your pack? You had a pack is do not give to children, and what does it say on the warning label?
Unsupervised adults.
No, but it was a quirky label.
Yeah,
on
he had a
something.
label on one thing one time. It said for the uninformed or something. Keep out of the reach of children and the uninformed.
Uninformed.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And the uninformed. Well, there's such a stigma around being stoned for all of people's lives. It's no wonder they go in with trepidation. Really, it's been ingrained in them. There's evil shit.
Well, I mean, we've
they
got
don't-
lots of patients that go, hi, I've got cancer and I don't want to get high. And then you go, why?
Why?
Just ask them that question because nobody asks them that question. You just accept, okay, shame she doesn't want to get high. Why do you not want to get high? Why do you think there's a lot of people that do that recreationally?
You just
You
got
know?
diagnosed
Yeah.
with cancer. Maybe
Let's
solve some
have some fun.
depression issues.
Well, this brings me so nicely to the next topic. Hey, Top Gear moment. there is so clearly a market for those of us who just want to melt our fucking face off. And some people are like experiencing this medicinally now, so they go there with one thing and then they get the side effect and it's a life altering. But it's not like life altering like puzza, You know, it's pretty shallow end weed, I find. And that's what's lacking is I can splash in the shallow end all day, you know. It's jacuzzi versus laps of booze. But now, for those of us who do just want to get fucked up, there's this... and I've got to read this. I hope this is a true story. I hope this is not bullshit. So it's on this site called Civilized Life, and it's titled Cannabis Company Turning Famous Winery into Willy Wonka Factory for Marijuanas. And it goes on.
We're making edibles.
Well, let's do the blurb and then we can do the thing. We often hear about cannabis companies turning unusual spaces into marijuana businesses. But turning a fancy winery into a Willy Wonka factory for cannabis may be the best. And it goes on, they're pumping lank millions into it and that. And they're going to say it's like be tasting and all that. But I think rather than getting to the article, what if you were to be in that position and there would have to be one fucking thing that would give you that Willy Wonka moment at a cannabis experience sort of place? What would be that one thing that would like make your fucking legs weak? What would you expect at the Willy Wonka weed experience?
You'd pay top dollar for it.
No,
Yeah,
this is the ultimate. If you were to say, like, I was to go there and they had to rock my fucking world, would it be a little river of rosin with boats on it? Or what would it take to make you think,
That's it.
that's it?
That is such a deep
No
question.
money, no limit, no fuck all. They say Willy Wonka. Willy Wonka's absurd like that. So what would it take to give you
Yeah,
that
the chocolate
Willy
factory
Wonka
thing,
moment?
and you're on a...
I would like a forest, please. I
A
would
forest
like
of
to
what?
walk underneath trees and not realize it is cannabis trees, and then look up and it started thick.
Yeah, cool.
They must have grown it for a couple of years. You must grow them for years. Just keep them going if you do it like that.
And they must have the buds just right that you can pick it and put it in your bowl and brrr.
butterflies and everything.
And medible quality streets on little red things hanging off each of the
So
branches.
So you rate the forest, eh?
Forest.
Forest.
I would
Forest,
like
eh?
a cannabis forest.
Like edible forest or like...
Well, we
weed
believe
forest.
in raw juicing lots,
Okay.
eh? We believe that walk out and before you that harvest
Willy
the bud,
Wonka's turning in his fucking...
The Willy Wonka raw juice bar. It doesn't...
That'd be great, guys. People are gonna love it.
Oh, God.
But you rate the forest of dank.
Oh, just
Eh?
imagine. the
Maybe
smell.
Christmas lights in
You
it.
can if you want.
maybe-
Just gotta
maybe-
confuse the plants.
Hemp plants with things like, you're walking past them, they're like this, and they cut the bottom branches off to about 2 meters. And, yeah, I can
Or
see
like
that.
tree houses in big
I can
weed
see
plants.
that.
Hey?
Oh,
Imagine like a 30-year-old fucking weed plant with a deck.
Gonna
and-
do it.
Johan,
Start
for you,
tomorrow.
what would you expect to see at the ultimate? What would it take?
a little beach made with trichomes, and then as the little hot river comes through, it just melts into that little river, and you can just go and help yourself.
beach.
Just clear that stuff there.
It's the only time I'd want sand in my crack. That full melt. But I could see it. Full melt.
Just sparkly, and you know.
And you just take your magnifying glass and melt it in the vape.
Yeah, that's Lani.
Okay. Jules,
Okay.
what would float your boat, eh?
I kind of like the rosin thing. That would actually, expanding on that would be quite a cool thing to do. But you know, it's like a sort of like a wax fluffy slide thing. It's not like rosin. You know, it's like a you know, like at Sun City they got those things that they drop off the edge and it's in water.
The log.
The log thing, yeah. Well, you could actually do it with really great shatter and keep it nice and chilled, so it's really shattered. Just drop off the top on like a rubber duck or something.
What about a shatter ice ring?
Carving it up? Imagine when you go like this. It's like 20
no
grams of
taking
shatter just hitting the
Landing on your nails, raining shatter in your eye.
everyone covered in 10 grams of fucking concentrate on the way out the door in their parka coats. So I hope it works out for them.
Yeah.
Actually, you don't think it's anything to do with Mike Tyson? Did you see that thing the
Yeah,
other
I
week?
saw
when-
that thing is buying like a $40 million marijuana ranch. or
Is
something.
it, do you reckon it's all connected and it's just
No,
another...
dude. So much of it happened. America's a big fucking place. America's like 40 or 50 South Africas.
Yeah.
So it's like a whole other planet. So
Yeah, they've got the market, they've got the numbers, they've got everything like that.
yeah, and everyone's staking their claim all over the fucking show now.
Yeah, big time. Yes, there's people are pumping money into it. It's like it doesn't matter if it gives you schizophrenia anymore. It's like they're forgetting all of that. And what are those guys in jail? Schizophrenia. Yeah, how didn't they prove that? So, I don't know. Well,
I
never
saw
mind.
something.
But anyway, look, we've got like 3,000 squares over here. Moving on.
Well, again, nicely onto the next point. There was an article in the Green Market Report about a big merger going on in Canada, but this is like mega fucking money. I don't know what to say. It's basically a medical marijuana. Oh no, sorry, getting ahead of myself. Let me get back there. But basically, maybe light another joint.
Yeah, no, how's that Cindy 99 going?
Yeah, it's going. How's it going? Actually, we catch that joint, eh? Yeah. Nice. So, it's cannabis growers in mega marijuana merger. And it says that these two Canadian companies are doing a merger deal for $6 billion.
Billion. Canadian dollars.
Oh, it doesn't say US or Canadian, but I imagine it's US because it's reported in the BBC, but they also say it's 4.2 billion euro.
Okay.
So it's money.
The way I see it is every time, you know how befuck I am with Canada at the moment because I'm watching it all very closely to see the future, really.
Yeah.
This is our government's trying to take the whole thing out of our hands. Classic example. And if that is the case, there is still only just short of 80,000 people allowed to use weed in Canada. That's all.
What?
Medical patients are like 76,000 or something. So if you're putting $1.1 billion into 78,000 patients, they know something we don't. No. It's just off the scale. They are expecting to be the producer of all the weed for Canada with a figure like that.
Yeah, well, everyone wants to be the biggest. We know that. But it's like, so... we'll put the link and all that. It's a BBC article. But something I'm struggling with, though, is that, and maybe you can also, because we may all be in that position at some point. Yes, there's like this big business thing where like mega money's making babies with mega money to make more money and all that. But what's happening as well is that a lot of the smaller brands are being bought up. And I imagine very willingly. This isn't like taking land back here, which is a contentious thing. These oaks are getting bought out. Just like Google acquires IP and everyone acquires these things, the small business is also just being vacuumed up with vast amounts of money.
Yeah.
And like, let's say Lacka, a couple of years down the line, we all got our fucking franchisee operation and weed and click thing and club going and whatever. But if someone had to come and say, I give you this much for your operation, would you take it? Would you bail? Because is there a number?
Everyone's got their price in line.
Because that's what's happening, guys. Oh, it's not like they're saying, we'll shoot your fucking kids if you don't give us your grow up. They're buying it up. They're buying it up, even if it's to take it out of the market or whatever, because there's that factor. Do you think that there may be a point where you say 10 million, 20 million? I don't know. I heard some oak locally got 44 million for you stake in a
From a nearly 60-year-old, yes, there is a point where you would actually, as part of your life plan, you'd realise at some point that if you did that, that would be enough to do anything you wanted to do for the rest of your life. There's a personal price. If I could figure that price out, I haven't got a quantity at the moment, but time's marching on. So what is my price? In US dollars, it'd be cool because it's the only thing to sell it.
And we don't have to say what our price is, because that's like woman age, woman weight, things you don't ask. But can we say around the room, would I have a price?
Yeah, definitely.
And maybe you've got to try and, it's your legacy, because fuck, we're building these things hard from the ground up, so there's a pride and blood and sweat and tears. But would you walk away if the right option was put on the table?
I think in my situation, I would walk away when my children get rid of me to take over what I have built.
Yeah,
so that is the only time.
Yeah, you see, I haven't got that dynamic.
You see, so
right.
I
but
think
then your kids might not want it.
But that's
the they might be so fucking tired of it.
Yeah, I hear you. I think. I don't think I can walk away from this. See, what we have realized now in the short while that we have been lucky enough to work with this plant, she takes you and then she consumes you. And then there is nothing else ever that can ever make sense again.
I agree, yeah.
It's a problem. Yeah. It causes relationship problems and stuff.
One of the big problems psychologically for people who get busted is the fact that there's just no weed around.
Ever.
There's just, all of a sudden, all the ladies have gone that you were talking to and listening to and smelling it with coffee in the morning, and the bastards just crushed them.
And you've got nothing.
Yeah, that's right. Just been there. We've all been there and done that as well. It's not, hailstones are quite poignant moments, but to have the fucking blue nightmares rock up.
Yeah, I
And
must
God,
tell
are they rocking up right now? That KZN thing, we'll watch it, see how it materialises.
Yeah, it's going to play out.
We've got 2 stages of prosecution in both high courts of Natal, Maritzburg and Durban, so we're covered. It doesn't matter the size of the grow, your human right is your human right, a bankie or a hectare. It doesn't make any difference to join the queue, it'll all sit in the queue. So it'll make the Hawks more mull because they definitely know about the dark couple and Fields of Green, I can assure you. We've been there and done that with the Hawks. So they're watching everything and they're mull at the moment. I reckon their cash cow's running out quite soon because we wait with bated breath for the Constitution to say something. They might not say it all, they might not give us a full whack, they might give us an abstract of where to go next or what to do, but I think the judgment is groundbreaking and we have to wait a while longer.
Yeah, and it's around the corner. Guys,
I don't think we should wait. I think everybody should start.
Absolutely.
I think we should grow.
Yeah, try it out.
Trees in your grandmother's yard. Plant trees everywhere. Yeah. Just start the industry.
No, it's not like apartheid here, guys. We mustn't make that mistake again. We mustn't wait till democracy to stop fucking being racist.
This industry's
so we don't need to wait for this law to change if we don't believe it and we change ourselves because fuck, they can't arrest us all. But they sure do try.
Well, let them try and then we make every single one public. Let's get the people who don't even know about this because it's only our community really, that know about these things. The old toppies on my medicine would get upset.
Are you mostly old toppies? Yeah. What's the sort of age group of your clientele?
Well, we have an age limit of 21, as we believe.
Okay.
Yeah,
how is that? 21.
Cool. Yeah, it's. I think it's responsible.
Yeah. No, it's powerful stuff you're giving people.
It's
yeah.
Yeah. And then everyone from every walk and age apply. Okay. In every area because.
And do a lot of people do it like behind their spouses' backs?
Absolutely not. It won't work. We work on a holistic approach. You've got to fix your whole life.
Yeah, you can't add another layer of hypertension.
I'm sorry, no. This woman and I have to
get the couple to take doses between them.
Well, that's usually what happens after a while when she sleeps really well. She gives her husband one. Now he's had 3 or 4 days to see that she hasn't gone mole. She hasn't seen the flying elephant. There's no schizophrenia happening. She's quite calm. She's nice.
Because all you do is you chill and you watch reality TV. And you winky.
And you sleep, and she's so lovable. And so he's like, so he takes one. And then about 3 or 4 months later, when she is now healed, you don't want to stay on medicine for the rest of your life. And anyway, that's what people need to understand. You can actually heal yourself if you do it right, and then you stop.
Right.
Then obviously when you've started expanding your mind and getting to know yourself better, you want to know about what's next. What do we do next? Is there an edible?
Fucking fly.
Yeah, the fucking fly. Look at that fly. It sits right on the end of the mic. And somebody just said the fucking fly's back. The muzzie's back. It's actually a fly, dude. It's not. It's a heavy duty one.
We're gonna have to make a clever plan. But I bet there's flies on the other end who getting you signal. I think he's like bravo, bravo.
There he is. He's back right at the end of it again. I need something to do it like this. Anyway.
Yeah, Canna X body spray and a light.
Hey, we got butane.
What she's gonna try. Anyway, last story of the day. This is that take 2. That Green Market report. Medical marijuana sales down in Colorado. The state of Colorado released its full year 2017 marijuana sales tax collections, and the medical marijuana market continues to decline. Wow, punctuation. As users make the switch to recreational marijuana. The initial data showed that medical marijuana sales had slowed, but now the latest report demonstrates that sales are actually declining. So people are going from medical marijuana to just marijuana.
Absolutely.
Basically.
When you heal yourself, as I said, you like the plant. It has good effects for your sleep and it has good effects for everything. So why not smoke or have an edible or,
Look, a lot of people, I think, let's say someone's got anxiety. They'd rather go the medical route because it's more responsible than have a joint. They could just go and have a joint the first round, and then maybe that sorts out their anxiety. But having someone there to explain to you and take you through everything and check your whole lifestyle and check everything, because it is a holistic.
Yeah, because I think when you think of it in a medical context, there is that whole lifestyle thing. But I think we can all concede that in America, if I wanted to, like in the last 20 years, and I was in one of the right states, I could say, I got athlete's fucking foot. I need some kush for my athlete's foot. Yeah. And I'd be able to do that.
Absolutely.
I could come I got back pain. I can't sleep black. My hands are sore from playing Xbox or some shit. And you could get it. You'd make something bullshitty thing. So I think it's also those people who just wanted weed.
Well, we also believe there's not a really big difference between medical and responsible.
All use is good use.
You know, if you use it responsibly, even if you use your medicine, you have to use your medicine responsibly.
So would that follow that it works as medicine even if it's not prescribed by a doctor? Absolutely. If I'm smoking my brains out, it must have some sort of positive effect on my processes because I feel okay, and it certainly makes me much nicer in traffic. Everyone should have a vape. It should be somewhere near your seatbelt cluster somewhere. You know, you see a robot out, you just go, and everyone's going "fuck you," and you're going, "Oh."
Just cruising, keeping safe. It's also I wonder there's another layer to this. I've noticed this trend, and I think this validates medical marijuana's greatest fear. What we saw over the last 5 years to decade even is that in the States, one of the biggest opponents to recreational marijuana has been medical marijuana, because they've been afraid of losing that consumer that they also knew was just there for his itchy toes.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And I'm afraid that maybe in SA, it's great we're saying medical, great, and I'm all about progress for progress' sake. But fuck me, if I see these oaks get onto the same team as DFL and all that, because they're making that same thing and they're saying, no, fuck anyone like that who wants to sell it for whatever mellow reason.
Do you think they would be? Do you think we're going there with something?
I'm afraid. I don't know.
That's quite extreme, but
you need to understand that you guys and the main players in the industry is in charge of this industry. We have to decide, set the trend, start it. Don't be scared of what's happening there. This is a different country with different people. Let's unite everybody and understand, yes, I've now done medical and I can send them your way, kumbaya, so that I can take on my new medical patients so that we can keep everything
But I'm not
rotating.
thinking in the us context. I'm thinking we're talking
national
$1
legislation.
billion, big deal, big license issue.
Fuck them. Let's just keep them
You
out
think
of
they
our
would want to
industry.
cop block us, eh?
Fuck them. Let's have them own thing.
Because they would also cop block holistic.
Guys, there's a fully functional industry here in South Africa already. Already we are so advanced. There's a price war going on.
There's
Totally.
there's
There's all
pictures, there's
sorts.
conventions, there's secret societies. So let's just boom the industry. They can't close everything down. Let them run the disc game 2,000 rand a mil oil that they want to export and bring back, and the old bunnies can go still buy there. We are in charge of this industry like they did overseas. Klaar finished for Bay, everybody has to stand up. There's no tight.
Look at where the industry is at now. Look at the industry where it's at now. You've got X amount of people supplying medical oil, and there's a lot of people supplying crap as well. But the point is, there's a lot of people supplying oil.
Yeah.
The market will balance itself out. People go to the right people. If you've got references, then the bad oil makers are going to be washed out anyways. They're not going to make a living.
The point about the Colorado statistics is people are going to the shop to get some weed because it's a lot easier than explaining something to a doctor and waiting 5 days for a card and getting taxed a bit less for that. The whole point of it is there's no fucking difference between what they're getting there and what they're getting there. It's the same lemon kush. It since the beginning of time, and certainly since the very first day of the Dacha couple, we've said, I don't know how many times I've said it in the last 7 years, there's no fucking difference. And that's what we're proving in Colorado, and the plant is proving it to the legislators that the stoners knew all along. Christ, it's exhausting watching this bellicose sort of thing trundling along, prohibition, the last breath, and they get another injection of funds and they go all out on something else. And the statistics that the opposition pull out about Colorado with the Rocky Mountain High, there's a federal government absolutely out there bias of they don't want legalization, these dudes, so they reflect what they see in all of the metadata accordingly. There's thousands of. It's gone up by 4,000%. The increase in the amount of gummy bear incidents in Denver hospital, but it's like goes from 8 to 16 or something. So it's all happening. That's the front line, and that's all I have to say. I reckon it's just people lightening up to the fact that it's all the same shit in the end.
Well, I guess, guys, we're coming in for landing. Folks, if you want to stay up to date with it, if you want to know what it's like on the new frontier with all this shit, please subscribe, like, share,
give us a
love,
go.
Whatever.
Help us along.
Yeah, man. Help us. We'll get there. Help us. Maybe we get some YouTube money for some nice gear. And all that.
We're looking for products. We're looking for ideas. This is season 2. We're getting there. It's like multitasking, and we're still doing it on Samsung phones and stuff. It's all good. Yeah. Thanks for joining us, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you.
One last question. Day 0 is approaching in Cape Town. And we mustn't forget affiliates. Got to do the punt at the end, guys. So, what would you recommend? Yes, it was Olive. Lucky dose follow, Graham. So, guys, what would you recommend as water substitutes for your bong and dab rig? If it had to be one thing, one bearable thing, it would still be a liquid, I imagine, not like sea sand. Salt water. Ooh.
I was at a function last Friday, and the guy in his study had a dab rig with no water. It was a dry pipe. It was a dry rig, and very flavourful, a bit hot, but full of flavour. And so I wouldn't give a shit. I'd save it up, all my bong water to wash, I don't know, my socks. It's a weird story to be talking about, because I think it's starting to affect absolutely everybody now. What the fuck would you do, dude? It's like out there.
Yeah. So, dry bong? Dude, what would you say?
I have to do seawater. I've never tried it.
Seawater,
Seawater bong with the salty kush.
What about sparkling water at least?
Sparkling, off the shelf
like
water.
Tonic type of
A tonic, a gin and tonic.
tonic water, yeah.
Okay. Hey, we used to do red wine and fucking hectic hash bongs in England in the day. Red wine and
Autumn harvest.
Autumn
harvest came down.
Crackling.
Yeah, but we feel it, Oaks. Your plants must be suffering. I don't know what to say. Heaven praise
will save the world if the climate's good to us.
So, guys, please, for those of you who do want to check out fieldsofgreen.org.za, co.za, there's a donate page, guys. $10. If you can donate a gram or whatever.
Yeah, 2018 is a big year now. We're stepping up into another level of engagement with the people we're suing, basically. We're going to meet government now and make sure that they understand as much as they can about the way the cannabis culture operates. Yeah. And they can listen to our presentations and see that we come in peace, and we're quite well dressed. We have nice shirts, and so Myrtle and I hit the road tomorrow to such a place in the middle of nowhere in the Free State for a 2-day seminar, basically with the people we're suing. Department of Health and Trade and Government and Justice, and so the police and all of these players. They want to hear about the cannabis in the future of youth development. Sure, so that's brand new territory for us.
Not something you often hear together, but guys, stay tuned. We'll give you an update next week, hopefully some footage or some stills. We'll give you a recap. This is into the belly of the beast shit. Fresh start. Cheetahs.
It's weird going from here to there. I mean, this is the depths of cannabis culture. If they were watching this, they'd get about 3 out of 7 words or something. The rest.
And if there is anyone from Free State, tune us. We'd love to see it. Bethlehem.
No, for E. Smith, it's tell and gone. For E. Smith's like, I don't know, the man says 6 hours and a bit.
Oh. And guys, there are a few brands that do support us, local guys, upstarts, genuine people. So I think it's only worthwhile to say, if you can, please support these guys. Green Thumb Hydroponics. For sure. They've got the online gthydro.co.za, a Dane store in 4 ways.
Yeah.
All your growing needs, check them out. Puff.co.za. These oaks have been in the online head shop game forever. Affordable, great selection. Andre, Cape Town.
And he's always sending a regular commission for years, Andre. Fuck, Andre. Wish you were all like that, Andre.
Yeah. One of the OGs. One of the fucking OGs. And then Emporium, guys.
Yeah.
So much nice hemp stuff. One of the only real places locally. It's done well. Also online. Emporium, what can I say? Nice
industry leaders.
Yeah. And last, Can Health. CBD, terpenes. If that shit tickles you pink, cannahealth.co.za.
Well, you can get Tickle Your Pink Terps, remember?
Dab that. Guys, thank you. It's been great. Please like, subscribe.
Yeah,
love all around.
Thanks.